Squrtle, the water type from Kanto, who leads the infamous Squrtle Squad, a gang of 5 Squrtles, all ditched by different trainers and banded together for survival. Each Squrtle had the same story. A trainer caught them, used them for a while, then abandoned them when they found something better. So these 5 formed their own family. They wore sunglasses, not because it looked cool, but because it was armor, a way to hide the fact that they'd all been hurt. And they started pranking people, stealing food, setting traps, acting like delinquents. Because if they acted tough enough, maybe no one would hurt them again. The town feared them, called them criminals, but they were just neglected Pokémon trying to survive together. Ash's Squrtle was the leader, the one keeping the squad together. And when Ash earned its trust and caught it, Squrtle had to choose between its found family and a second chance at having a trainer. The Squrtle Squad is the only story where the abandoned Pokémon found each other first, and that's what made it bittersweet. They survived together when no one else cared. Litten, the scrappy Alolan street cat who evolves into Torracat, and then the wrestling-inspired Incineroar, joining Ash's team in Sun and Moon. Litten was a homeless stray, surviving alone in the alleys of Mele Mele Island, and its only family wasn't another Litten, or even a human. It was an elderly stoutland who took pity on it, bringing it food and offering it quiet, protective companionship. Then, Stoutland got sick, and the show didn't hide it. We saw Stoutland grow visibly weaker each time, coughing, struggling to move, until Stoutland died of old age on screen. No battle, no villain, just the end of a long life. The first confirmed natural death in Pokémon history. Litten didn't understand what happened. It kept bringing berries to Stoutland's favorite spot, waiting for him to wake up. When he didn't, Litten made a devastating choice. It stopped eating entirely, because if Stoutland couldn't eat, then it wouldn't either. A Pokémon actively starving itself from pure bewildered grief. Its salvation wasn't a Pokéball, it was Ash, helping it look up to see Stoutland's spirit formed in the passing clouds, teaching children how to process loss and mourning. Charmander, the Kanto fire-type starter that becomes the iconic Charizard, left on a rock in the pouring rain to die. Charmander belonged to a trainer named Damien, who decided it was too weak after it lost a few battles. So Damien left it on a rock in the middle of nowhere and told Charmander to wait there, promising that he'd come back for it. Charmander believed him, sat on a rock waiting, and then it started raining. For a fire-type, rain kills. The flame on Charmander's tail is its life force. If that flame goes out, Charmander dies, and the rain was actively extinguishing it. Ash found Charmander barely conscious, the tail flame flickering, almost gone, and tried to get it to come to the Pokémon Center, but Charmander refused to leave because it was still waiting for Damien. Then, Damien showed up at the Pokémon Center, bragging to his friends about how he abandoned Charmander on purpose, laughing about it. And Charmander heard everything. The loyalty Charmander had was weaponized against it, left to die in the rain because its trainer wanted an excuse to ditch it. Goomy, a dragon type from Kalos that eventually evolves into the gentle giant Goodra. Goomy lived peacefully in the wetlands with other Pokémon until Florges decided she wanted the territory for herself. Florges didn't just ask them to leave, she launched a full-scale invasion, sending swarms of bug types and fairy types to terrorize everyone living there. Goomy, being a dragon type, took super effective damage from everything. And during the attack, Florges hit Goomy directly in the face with Moonblast at point-blank range. Goomy survived, but got driven out of its home, forced to abandon the wetlands and everyone it knew. The trauma didn't just disappear whenever bug types or fairy types appeared in battle. Goomy would completely freeze up, having visible flashbacks to the invasion, start shaking, unable to move or fight back. Goomy's brain was reliving the attack every single time, and Ash had to slowly help it work through the psychological damage of being displaced and traumatized by a territorial war.
You stay here and don't you dare leave this place!
Gengar,
Gengar, the ghost poison type who spent 3 years waiting in an abandoned mansion before Ash finally found it. Gengar's trainer lost battles, and he blamed every single loss on Gengar, claiming it was cursed, that it brought bad luck. So he abandoned Gengar in an old mansion, told it to wait there, and never came back. Gengar waited for 3 solid years in that empty mansion, alone, feeling like an actual ghost because no one was around. Whenever people came to explore the abandoned building, Gengar got excited, thinking it was finally its trainer returning. But it was just random people, so Gengar scared them off, making everyone think the mansion was haunted. 3 years of false hope, 3 years of loneliness. Gengar tracked down his old trainer, followed him around, and overheard him talking trash about Gengar to his friends, laughing about the abandonment. Gengar snapped and attacked him with Shadow Ball. Pikachu had to deflect the attacks, and the trainer gave some half-hearted apology before Ash stepped in and caught Gengar, finally giving it a home after 3 years of waiting. Tepig, Ash's Unova Fire-type starter that evolves into Pignite. This abandonment story is so cruel, it's hard to believe it aired on a kid's show. Tepig belonged to a trainer named Seamus, and after losing just one battle, one single loss, Seamus decided Tepig was worthless. Seamus didn't just release Tepig like a normal person. He tied it to a wooden post in an abandoned lot and left it there like trash. Tepig tried to escape, struggling against the rope, and the rope wrapped tighter around its snout, completely covering its mouth. Tepig couldn't eat, couldn't drink, couldn't call for help, just stuck there slowly starving. When Ash finally found it, Tepig was so emaciated and filthy that people genuinely thought it was an Umbreon, a completely different Pokémon. That's how unrecognizable it had become. But the worst part is, when Ash confronted Seamus about it, Seamus admitted he faked the entire goodbye scene, acting like he cared. He made it seem emotional, because that's just what he does when he ditches Pokémon he doesn't want anymore. Seamus had a pattern of abandoning Pokémon and manipulating them into thinking it was a loving farewell. Lapras, the water and ice type from the Orange Islands arc. This Pokémon got traumatized 3 separate times in the span of a few years. Lapras was just a baby when it got separated from its family pod during migration, alone in the ocean trying to find them. Then, 3 kids on Tangelo Island found it washed up on the beach, injured and defenseless. They started beating it with sticks, throwing rocks at its shell, laughing the entire time because torturing a baby Pokémon was entertainment to them. Ash stopped the attack and nursed Lapras back to health, spending weeks helping it search for its family. When they finally found the pod, Lapras was so excited it immediately swam towards them, and the pod turned on it, attacked it, drove it away because humans had been hunting Lapras for so long that any Lapras smelling like humans was considered contaminated. Lapras was abandoned by its family, abused by children for fun, then rejected by its own species for surviving, and the show made it clear this wasn't rare. This was what happened to Lapras, who got too close to humans. Chimchar, Ash's Sinnoh Fire-type starter that eventually evolves into Infernape. Chimchar was originally a wild Pokémon when a group of Zangoose jumped him in the forest, surrounded him, and started tearing him apart. Paul was nearby watching the entire attack go down, and he did absolutely nothing, just stood there observing while this tiny monkey was getting destroyed. Chimchar was about to die when his Blaze ability activated for the first time, flames exploding everywhere, fighting off all the Zangoose. That's when Paul captured him, not to save his life, but because he saw that Blaze activation and wanted to weaponize it. Paul became obsessed with forcing Blaze to trigger again, so he ordered his entire team, Ursaring, Electabuzz, Magmar, Torterra, to attack Chimchar all at once, beating this little fire monkey into the ground over and over, trying to activate Blaze through pure torture. Chimchar developed severe PTSD, specifically around Zangoose, freezing up in battle, having violent flashbacks, shaking uncontrollably whenever one appeared. Then during battle, when Chimchar hesitated from his trauma, Paul released him mid-match, called him worthless, and abandoned him. Ash found Chimchar, having a complete breakdown in the forest.